Welcome to Who You Were with Patrick Noth and Sebastian Canelli. In each episode, we ask our guests to talk about a time in their life when they were significantly different. Episode 5, Casey Jost.
What's our Instagram, Sebastian? I bet you he doesn't know our Instagram.
I don't know what the Instagram is. Hold on.
It's at Who You Were.
At Who You Were podcast. It's the name of the podcast. Okay. I forgot. So it's the at Who You Were podcast. No more questions like that because I don't know a lot.
Yeah. No worries. You know what else I forget to do?
What?
Is ask the guest what they want me to, how they want me to intro them, like what credits they want me to bring up. Because I feel like we have somebody right now with a lot of different things. A man of many hats.
Yes.
I like to think of myself as anti-credit, though.
Anti-credit?
Yeah, I never know what you actually get out of that. I guess listeners are like, oh, this is something I might know him from, but I don't know if anybody even if I say those things, even if I'm like a producer for Impractical Jokers, I guess it might paint the picture, but I don't think that really does, right?
Yeah, no.
UCB improviser is more important, or like an actor and writer of things.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, of course. But
television writer.
I guess so, but I mean,
HQ trivia host.
I mean,
you do that?
I have done it like 4 or 5 times, but not in a long time.
Oh
so
my
I'm
God.
I'm like a former host at this
Former
point.
HQ trivia host.
Is that a hard job?
It is.
It seems hard.
It is pretty hard. It's like, because you're in this you're like in a little box and you have to perform for yourself. There's one other person there, but that person is usually busy like monitoring and like putting things and like doing actual like techie stuff.
Sure. Right.
You know, like I'm not even sure what. That's the thing. Like that person is like kind of like a producer, but kind of talks to you before it and after it, and not during. So you're really performing for millions of people, but completely by yourself. There's no feedback. You're not looking at comments and stuff.
That's the scariest thing.
It's pretty cool though. It's a fun experiment.
Did you wear a suit?
You know what? I didn't wear a parachute. I went out with no help.
No parachute.
No parachute.
Dude, you gotta have a safety parachute in case things go bad.
Was it super high up in the air?
It was in a hot air balloon.
Okay, yeah.
But so which is weird if you jump out with a parachute.
Honestly, it makes sense that they shoot it in a hot air balloon because it's a live feed,
right?
You know what I mean? So you want to be up there.
Yeah, it's excitement.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I went in a hot air balloon once.
You did?
Did you?
Yeah, as a little kid, I was so scared, but my dad said, "You're going to be disappointed if you don't do this."
That's a good way to get someone to do something.
Yeah, but that's a real bully attitude. And I don't even remember the experience of doing it. I just remember my dad saying that to me.
Wow,
that's crazy. So you remember being pressured. You remember like your interpersonal relationship with your dad more than you remember being in a fucking hot air balloon.
Yeah. My mom would probably push me to do something, but my dad would be like, "You could give up." Yeah, he'd be like, "You could quit if you want."
That's okay. So nice.
Lisa's parents are similar. Actually, I think they're both. My wife Lisa, they both are like, throughout time, if she didn't like something, they'd be like, "Just quit. It doesn't matter." Right. It's just so funny.
I guess I quit stuff as soon as they stopped caring about what I did.
Yeah.
They wanted me to quit football so bad.
Oh yeah, I want you to quit football.
I did.
Oh good.
I did. I do have a hematoma on my leg. I got
from football.
Yeah.
See, I told you.
What's a hematoma?
It's like a lump.
Sounds made up.
I know it's blood.
It's like, a collection of blood I got on my leg from like a helmet hitting my leg or some shit like that. I also, this is so sad, I accidentally broke a kid's knee.
Oh my God.
And that like must have ruined his life in a way. He must have like got fucked up from that, like gained weight, not been able to play football. And all I did was play the game.
He's fine now. Or he's okay
now.
No,
he's a mess. I ruined his life. I affect people. That's the point of this.
There was an episode of Party of Five like this.
Really?
Yeah, where Bailey like tackles someone. He's like been really into football and like loving it and doing well. And he tackles someone in a scrimmage on his own team, and he has to go to the hospital. Like he may not live, and then like he's in a coma, and then like spoiler, he pulls out of it. But it was like it like ruined football for him. He like couldn't play anymore.
Yeah,
that's heavy.
It's scary.
Yeah,
you know what's crazy is they used to like wide receivers, more running backs. I meant to say running backs. I said wide receivers. Now I'm fucking hedging. But
yeah,
they used to have long careers. Like Walter Payton played for like 20 years or something insane. Now it's like 5.
Damn,
and they get injured.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
football's really weird.
Yeah,
yeah.
I did swimming growing up.
Ooh, that's
so
nice.
I don't have many
Speedo.
Yeah. I for a long time though, I didn't like the Speedo. I didn't want to wear a Speedo because I thought that my genitals weren't large enough.
Right.
Like I felt really self-conscious of my like the size of my genitals.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because we're all like bred to feel that way.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
I think that even somebody with it and like an insanely large penis and balls the size of fucking raccoons.
This also seems. That's also. I'm going to stop you there because I would hate that.
Yeah.
And I'd feel way more embarrassed. I would not put a Speedo on.
But I bet you they're still self-conscious.
Yeah. Well, they are specifically. You mean like an above average, but not not like elephantitis of the penis.
Right.
No.
But
You're
they're
saying,
still
like,
worried about it.
Yeah, everybody's in the same boat.
Everybody's worried about it.
I had a boy with one ball that was the size of a softball.
Did you say you had a boy that was that?
I should rephrase that. I was too casual. I knew a kid in high school.
You mean like I had a friend, but since you say like, yo, that's my boy, you just changed it to I had a boy.
Yeah, those two guys.
If he's from Staten Island, I kind of followed it.
Yeah, please translate for me.
But Milwaukee needed to take a second.
I mean, we used to say my boy or whatever, but like I had a boy.
You've heard that before. I had a boy.
No, I can't.
Well,
I can't
it's hard
get
to
your
say.
back.
Like
I think
my
it's a
boy,
Brandy lyric.
My boy used to. I guess you would say my boy used to.
Yeah.
My boy used. Oh yeah. You have to have my before it.
Yeah.
You can't say I had a boy.
I really took ownership of him.
Yeah, but I don't know how to pass.
Maybe he
tense
passed
that.
away. Like if he passed away, you could be like, I had a boy. You know.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you past tense it at all? Because you have to be like my former boy, or like like my ex boy. My boy from a couple boys ago. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. Please, send us information at our Twitter. Hold on, that's at You Were Podcast.
We didn't even know what your boy did.
At Who You Were Podcast.
I want to find out what your son did.
Oh, he just had he had one testicle.
One big testicle.
That was the size of a softball.
Gotcha.
And he had to do all these tests, and it was fine.
Oh.
Did he have to get it like reduced?
Mm-hmm, yeah. And he had to like jerk off into a cup. This is hard. We didn't even introduce you yet.
I don't think the doctor said jerk off into this cup.
Well, he had to masturbate into a cup, and like he had to go with his mom to the doctor.
Uh-huh.
So his mom like told him like, hey, it's time for you to
your first masturbation.
time for you to masturbate. So she like gave him the cup. It was like, okay, we gotta leave for the doctors in an hour. And it was just like the mom knew he had to jerk off in that hour.
A stand-up could have a career based on that moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's such an insane moment. The fact that your mom's like, it's so complex.
And that's my boy.
And that's your son.
So Casey's here. Casey, how would you, like, you have a lot of credits. How would you describe yourself, your day-to-day life, like beyond what we know of credits?
Oh, okay. I like going to restaurants with my wife. I like coffee. I like making coffee and then trying to do something fun and creative, like play some music or, like maybe write something.
Yeah, we didn't get beyond comedy. Casey is a very prolific musician. You release albums on your own. You release albums with a band. You are in a group called Chase and Rose, which is my personal favorite thing you do.
Yeah.
So
those are some things that I like to do, like aside from just work stuff. I've recently we moved apartments, and I've had a lot of fun thinking about what stuff we want to get for the apartment and not getting too much. And so that's been, we just like furnished this little balcony we have, and that was an exciting month of like picking it out. Some stuff like wasn't available like in stock. I know it's boring, but like it's little things like that I love.
It's married life.
It's a little bit that. It's a little bit of hashtag adulting, they would say.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't say that because you don't even know your Instagram. But I don't know. There's little things like that are I find joyous. I talk to my dad a lot.
About that stuff?
No.
Just in general.
That's a thing I like to do.
do you talk on the phone with him?
Yeah. I realized like a couple days ago that I talk to my dad on the phone like maybe every day.
That's great.
I'll
That's
miss
cool.
maybe like a weekend if we're like both busy.
I talk to my mom on the phone every day.
Yeah. I
And
think
then-
a lot of people do, and whenever I'd hear that, it'd be like, really? And now I kind of do it. It just happens. I don't know.
So I have a question about when you're decorating. I always looked for like paintings to put on my wall or stuff like that. But where do you find that's like a little masculine but fits your like aesthetic? How do you figure that out?
My apartment is probably not masculine.
Because I type in like manly art into Google, and then it's like all pictures of wolves and stuff like that, and there's nothing that like.
I'm more in this apartment has a lot more of stuff that's meaningful to Lisa and I. Okay. So we have like weird stuff. So we have a bag that we got in Maine that we had framed.
That's
so
cool.
we like go to visit a friend in Maine all the time, and we got a bag that has like fresh lobster. It says it on it, but it's like really Art Deco and fucking cool.
Yeah.
So we like went to a frame store and paid money for that rather than buying art. We were like, let's just make art and make it look like. We also got these weird coasters from Lisa. Had like used to live in an older apartment. That's the first place we moved in together. We got coasters that have like like a drawing of the building. Another one has the Williamsburg Bridge. Another one has the L train.
Oh wow!
And we put all of those into another frame, like with a glass back so you could see through it. That's awesome. It's like they're suspended. So it's like I think it's a lot cooler to find art that's like meaningful to you rather than
type
like
in.
or make art that's meaningful to you rather than buy it or something.
So you're walking down the street, you see one of those old typewriters, someone threw that out. You picking it up, and throwing it in the apartment or what?
It depends. It would have to be like what conditions it's in. If it's next to a weird bedbug's bed, I'm not going to get it.
Sure.
Because I'm a little hypochondriac. Is that the right thing? That's more for like illnesses. Right?
Yeah, that's illness.
I'm just a nervous
You're
person.
just nervous.
Yeah.
And so I think like it would have to be what it is. Like, you know, I like collect like cassette tapes. I really like cassette tapes.
Yeah.
It was like my first form of like getting music. And so I was like, we don't have physical forms of music anymore.
Yeah.
We don't have CDs. We don't really use it. So I wanted that tactile feeling.
Do you remember the first cassette tape that you bought?
Like as a child?
Yeah.
It was a single. It was bought for me. It was a Christmas gift from my brother. It was Joan Osborne. What If God Was One of Us? On single.
That's awesome.
Was that a joke gift?
I don't think so.
Sebastian, you are too young for cassettes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've put a cassette tape in.
Yeah. Oh, you know, we used to use cassettes for when we want to record songs off the radio.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that's the only way I would use cassettes.
When you said we, what do you mean? You and your boy?
Me and my boy. Yeah, of course.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have two sisters. I'm a twin. I got a twin sister and an older sister.
Okay, and your older sister, like, did she get you into a lot of stuff that you're into?
Yeah, well, they did theater. They were always doing theater, so they like dragged me along into it. So it was.
What about music stuff?
Yeah, well, my dad was a musician, so.
Okay.
So he was like into Wu-Tang and stuff like that?
Yeah, he was big into
Your dad's
Wu-Tang.
Capadonna, right?
Yeah. No, he played guitar, singer, songwriter for years, and like he was like always playing around the city. He had like
So he was like a Beatles guy, I imagine.
Yeah, he liked Harry Nilsson a lot.
Oh.
Which was like the Beatles' favorite
Okay,
artist.
that makes sense.
So,
well, your sister though specifically, because there's a generation of Staten Islanders that's like a little older than or around our age.
Yes.
That likes like Madonna and like KTU dance music.
Yeah.
It's hard to find that anymore.
Yeah.
It still exists on KTU. KTU is still playing probably like the same songs that were out of Sweet 16 in the 90s.
Of course, they haven't changed. They literally pick songs and they could play the same from like 20 years ago.
Because I think there's still an audience like in this, you know, that's the thing about radio. It's like, it's localized, or what's the word for it? Regional?
Yeah.
So I think there's still enough of like Staten Island, Brooklyn people that want to hear, you know, early Madonna and like... I
was Z100 when I was a little kid, and then I moved to Hot 97.
Big time. Those are said for people listening. Z100 was like pop music.
Pop, yeah. Elvis Duran had a good morning show I would listen to in the morning.
Hot 97, hip hop.
Hip hop. It was great. And then when 105.1 came, it was like this big thing. It was like someone's coming to fight in Hot 97.
It's huge. It's still a big thing.
Yeah.
It's still a big fight. Radio
is
still,
it?
Yeah.
I like don't listen anymore because I have Spotify and like
It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
And podcasts. And no one should listen to the radio. Everyone should just listen to podcasts.
Just this podcast.
Yeah, just this podcast.
Over and over.
This music is bad. So Casey, before we get into like who you were at this time when you were significantly different, we do like sort of like we just ask you a bunch of quick questions to get some context out.
I love this. Couldn't love this more.
So I want to know where you lived at the time, and is that where you're from originally?
I lived at the time of this. I lived in college, so I lived at Rider University, which is Lawrenceville, New Jersey.
Okay,
and that's not where I'm from. I'm from Staten Island, but it's about an hour away. And it was a weird school that people would go home a lot on the weekends, but me and like my crew would always stay on campus. And I felt like that gives you a lot of like everyone who does stay around knows each other in a certain way.
Yeah.
But there's that thing where there are people that I saw every single day, like in the cafeteria or like going to class, and that were my age that I could draw for you right now, but I don't know their name or anything about them.
Sure.
There's just like sometimes it gets a little clicky.
Yeah.
So even if you know everyone and you dabble in maybe in different cliques, there's going to be some people that you just don't know, even though you see them every single day. It's an odd thing about college. But sorry, that was a tangent.
No, I love that. Where is that in Jersey?
So it's kind of between Trenton and Princeton, and it's a little bit of both. So it's like a little rundown, but then it's also like a little like prep schooly. It's like right in between the two, which I loved because we'd go to some parties or like restaurants in Princeton. And then we would go to like thrift stores and stuff in Trenton.
Cool.
So that was like a kind of vibe. It wasn't too far from Philly either. So we'd go to see jazz.
Whoa,
sometimes.
That's awesome. All right. So how old were you so you were in college then?
Yeah,
right?
this was probably my freshman or sophomore, something like that. I think maybe my sophomore year. I think so.
So 19.
What kind of 19?
I think around 19.
What kind of music you listened to at the time?
At that time, I think at one of the photos, I'm wearing a Rilo Kiley t-shirt, which is like an indie rock band from that era. And I liked a lot of... At that point, I had gone through all the music that I liked. Like high school was where I kind of found everything, and I formed a lot of opinions about... I was listening to just like one artist from everything. I was listening to a lot of Weezer. I was listening to a lot of Wu-Tang, a lot of Tribe Called Quest. I was listening to a lot of classic rock at that point, like kind of trying to find the deep cuts of Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Because I remember like some friends, this is after 9/11, and so classic rock kind of came back in New York. Because the concert for New York,
The Who did that great, and they had all the firemen on stage singing with them, and it was huge.
So I was there for that.
You were there?
My mom, she just retired, but she was the chief medical officer for the fire department. So she's obviously very connected to the fire department. So she got to send me and my friend Billy Gagliardi, who was like...
Did you hear that name? That can be more Staten Island.
Yeah.
Billy Gagliardi.
he's definitely a boy of mine. And so we got to go, which was huge because Billy got me into playing music. Like he had a basement with like all the instruments, and I got to play there. And so we got to go to the concert for New York. I remember like a swim coach I had who was also a fireman got on stage at one point with Paul McCartney. Like the whole thing was crazy, and it was all like a concert with all firefighters.
Yeah.
Which is such a funny concert. I mean, it sounds like that's every Bruce Springsteen concert, but this was really, and it had like David Bowie in it, and it was The Who stacked. It was incredible. Jimmy Fallon did like a comedy bit.
Yeah, and it was on TV. It was on like NBC or some shit. It was like a major deal.
So classic rock had to come back, and then that's another radio station in New York. What's it called? 104.3.
Yeah. Q Rock.
Q Rock or something?
No, it's not K Rock.
It's not K Rock. It's the other one. Q104.
Yeah, I think
it was called that. I don't know, but that was like a big station too. So so classic rock, hip hop, and then like nerdy Weezer kind of stuff.
Nice. So what'd you do for fun around that time?
Around that time, I probably drank a lot.
What was your drink?
At that time, I think it was like a Bacardi and root beer. Like the two most sugary things.
Yeah.
I remember at the Walgreens or like what was it? There was a Wegmans, but there was also a Walmart, which I'd never been to a Walmart until college. And
neither have I. 'Cause that's not a thing.
No, not in Staten Island.
I went to
delis and bodegas.
4 Walmarts in my life.
Yeah,
and honestly, every time I go, it's like, whoa, this is fucking awesome.
Right.
I don't like see like how it's ruining places.
I know. I walked in, I was like, holy shit, this is everything.
Yeah,
and it's different. Like I think my dad used to go to. My dad went to Costco a lot.
Of course, Costco. That's a madhouse on Sunday. Do not go on Sunday,
guys. Don't go to Costco on Sunday.
After church, it's unbelievably packed.
I've never been there, but don't go to that Staten Island Costco on Sunday
unless you want to get gas. The gas prices are cheap.
I go to Staten Island now. My dad still goes. He goes, "Let me drive you to Costco. I'll get you some gas." It's literally so out of the way.
That's such a funny sentence that I've heard a million times. That's crazy. So that Costco is a little warehousey, whereas like a Walmart feels like a grocery store, but with like everything you could ever imagine. You get like a fish tank, but. So I used to get this stuff called Dr. Thunder, Diet Dr. Thunder, because I really was such a health nut. Diet Dr. Thunder, and then I would mix that with Bacardi Superior. And that was the start of me trying to actually think about my weight, which I had never done.
And Dr. Thunder's a root beer?
Yeah, there's a lot of like rip-off Dr. Peppers and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a Dr. Thunder, there's Mr. Pibb.
Do you consider Dr. Pepper a root beer?
I think it's in the realm, yeah.
No fucking way, dude. This is unbelievable.
I know it's its own thing.
I brought it up because I knew we were going to get sidetracked.
This is no way, dude. It's not even in the boils, so it doesn't even make that.
It's like birch beer. It's like birch beer.
What is birch beer?
Birch beer is like it's a sweeter root beer. It's like it's from like a different like a root beer, like the original. All of it's now sugar, but the original
like a ginger root.
Yeah, the original version of root beer was like this kind of wood or some shit like that they would soak and then like ferment or something. But it wasn't alcohol, I think. I don't know. And then birch beer was similar, but it was a different root and it was sweeter. But now it's all like artificially made and stuff. But I don't think Dr. Pepper, like if you drank root beer and you had Coke and you had Dr. Pepper, you'd be like, oh, this is more similar to Dr. Pepper.
I don't like root beer, but I love Dr. Pepper.
I agree.
Wow, you don't like root beer?
Root beer is too like sweet. I don't know. It's not specific enough.
I think I got pushed too much on me as a boy because you were supposed to like root beer as a boy.
This is a flash forward to like what we're going to talk about later of like me changing who I am. But I haven't had soda in like, I don't know, 20 years since this time.
No.
Probably.
You're older than I thought.
I'm 50. No, I'm 32.
Oh, okay.
But
no,
I shouldn't
did
say
the math
20.
wrong.
Yeah, okay, yeah, my bad.
You're dumber than I thought.
Man, I haven't had a good soda in 115 years. I haven't had it in so long, and like I'm just picturing root beer. I probably had like a sip of like a Diet Coke here and there, but I haven't had like a root beer or
so
like.
You've never had a Coke Zero? Because that's a new soda.
I don't think
You've
so.
never had a Coke Zero?
Probably not.
Damn, it's made with Splenda.
Okay.
Coke Zero is fantastic.
Coke Zero is the shit. I can't believe you never had that.
But is it I don't think it's, even though it's made with Splenda, it's still not good for you.
No,
right?
it's not good for you. There is that stevia soda now.
I've had that. You get that sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't love the flavor. I don't love the flavor.
No, they sell it at Whole Foods.
Once you start, like, well, I've sort of, we're jumping ahead, but I stopped doing a lot of sugar stuff, like drinking that stuff, because I kind of needed to. I'm a slippery slope with food, and I'll just kind of, binge it or just eat a lot, or like if I make one excuse, I'll make 100, and so like to stop that, I started getting off of sugar, and then you realize like. I don't like the flavor even anymore of like something that's super sweet. Sure. So to have like a stevia drink that's like supposed to be like a sugary drink, I'm still like, this just tastes like a thing that I'm trying to avoid, that I don't like.
Sure, it's about the idea of the soda rather than the taste.
Yeah, to me, it's like when something's too sugary, it tastes now it's like if something's too salty, where you're like, whoa, I can't even eat this.
Wow.
What kind of clothes were you wearing at this time?
Yeah, so I was definitely a thing that I was wearing a lot was a bandana. I used to wear like a tuck, like not even like a headband style. Like it was a bandana.
Just most days,
yeah,
you're in a bandana.
Probably.
Wait, so how would you wear it? Would you roll it up?
No, I would like, picture it's a big square, right?
Big square.
And then you just do the triangle.
And
then you tie it around the back.
Sure.
And then you tuck the top part into the back.
Like Hulk Hogan.
Or like Hulk,
or the Crips
or Dan Cortez from MTV Sports. I don't know. I'm trying to think of why I did it.
Wait, but you have such a beautiful head of hair.
It was long, and I think maybe I was just, instead of like having to like think about it, I would just kind of put it in. I didn't really think I looked good in hats. For some reason, I thought that was a good look.
You were in a band too. Like that was it like a band thing?
No.
How many handkerchiefs did you have at this time?
So I dated a girl in high school that used to do that, and it was like she looked really good. And then I think I put it on once, and she was probably like, "That looks nice. You look good," or something. And then I just was like, "Oh, that's just the confidence I needed to make this mistake."
You know what I like about having you on here is I feel very comfortable fucking with you, and it just feels fantastic.
Please, as much as you want. I like that you wore this hat because you're Mr. Podcast. You're wearing like a Knicks hat.
Yeah,
you're like, I've never seen you wear a hat, but you like put it on for the podcast.
Of course, it's a persona he's got.
I know.
Pat's got
everybody at home. I always say that up top. I forgot to this time, but I'm wearing a hat. Here we are at the podcast.
Well, you should have seen him last episode. We start the episode. The kid's chewing gum.
The kid.
I was the kid right here chewing fucking gum for a half hour.
You only visually knew that I was chewing gum.
It was the loudest chopping you ever heard.
No,
so now he's doing something funky every episode. This episode he's got a hat.
Doing something funky.
He can't figure out his persona.
Can't figure it out. I'm still figuring it out. I might have a British accent next week.
Jeez.
All right. So, what was your friends? Like, who were you hanging out with at that time?
All right. So, I was kind of mixing it up. I think at this time I had gotten out of a relationship, so I was like really I felt very, and it was like a kind of a binding relationship that was bringing me home a lot on those weekends. So I wasn't.
It was your high school girlfriend
that had kind of transferred.
Where was she
over.
going to school?
I think she was going to a Long Island school.
Oh, so she was commuting anyway.
Yes.
So it was like not like she wasn't CSI.
Yeah. So we had plenty. It was a long relationship that needed to end. So I think we both went different directions. But I think at that point I was like, I really want to mix it up. I want to meet a lot of people. I want to just, expand my horizons in terms I had a bunch of friends that I knew from Staten Island that are still close friends of mine that went to the school. So, but I was like, I don't want to get too cliquey. So I met a group of dudes that later on to explain they became frat guys, but they weren't yet joining that. Yeah. But that gives you the inclination of where they were headed, and they'd have stories like this girl came over and she got a period on all my sheets, and he would be so happy because he had that story now.
Sure,
you know what I mean.
And he would tell everyone. He would tell other girls about it.
Of course. And it was one other tale for his legend. And but he definitely it wasn't a bad guy, but that's just to paint the picture. But so I went away with that group and to see some other old friends at a Scranton University party that I also knew some people at. So it was a kind of a combination. So that's where I think I hit my personal rock bottom in terms of what I was doing. I mean, I've we've all had plenty of rock bottoms, sure. I think. But this was one that stood out when you asked me about that.
I feel like starting this podcast was a rock bottom for me, sort of.
Oh,
you know
good.
What I mean?
That's good. That's a fun place to start, because then by the end of the whatever 300 episodes you'll do, you'll be like, wow.
We're hoping to do 10.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. What number is this?
This is number 2.
Perfect.
So we're almost halfway.
Yeah.
You know what we keep doing? We keep saying which podcast it is, but we don't know that we're going to... I guess we're going to have to release them in this order then.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Well, no, not necessarily. We just explained right now that that's the whole thing. If this is number 5, that's funny. Because the people listening,
that's funny.
If this is number 1, that's also funny because it feels like we just dropped in. That's
behind the curtain.
I sort of wonder if the podcast pros
fucking amped on that shit.
I wonder if the podcast pros don't do that.
I never set out to be a podcast pro. That's not a thing I want to do.
Right.
I've never been my dream was never to become a podcast pro. I hate the name of that.
I want to be a podcast pro. Honestly, this is not a rock bottom. I'm fucking working towards being a podcast pro.
Yeah,
all right, there you go.
Look, I'm very comfortable.
That's a spin.
I just sit here and giggle. I don't do much. I don't know how to be a pro.
You provide a lot. That whole boy thing was...
Yeah, the little boy. Yeah, I did one funny thing, 2 hours of content. It's fantastic.
Could have ended that. That's our time. Thanks, everybody.
So, let's get into it then.
Yeah.
Who were you at this time?
I was I'm from who I am now to then, and there's different ways I feel about it too, because like I said, I miss root beer. I miss indulging in certain things, and I'm in a weird point now where I've kind of have this modified diet. Diet's very important to me, or I do it every single day, but at this time I was I think one of the pictures is I'm eating a microwavable dinner over a sink at 5 a.m. because I was just I need to eat something because I'm too drunk or something like that. Yeah. Whereas I think I've gotten better at I still drink. It's not like I've stopped that, but I think I've gotten better about, and that's college, so you're binging more, and you're not to blame it on a time in your life, but it's common that people do that.
Yeah,
it's finally you're not at home. Your mother or father's not judging what you're eating. You could do whatever you want.
Yeah, and I think getting out of that. Getting out of a relationship and meeting new people, and expanding my horizons in terms of people. Uh-huh. I also was went internally, and right. I was what are things that are making me happy or sad? And I've always been at that point I'd always been a bigger kid since I was a kid. Since I was 5 years old, I was like a really chubby kid, which I think I tell people now, and they're that's crazy because they think I'm pretty slender now.
You're thin. Yeah, you could say that.
But not Yeah, I think at that time too, and I also feel weird. We talked earlier, you were oh, you're going to talk about when you were fat, and I don't like that word. I just felt I was unhealthy more than that. If I were that size but eating healthy, and I would just be yeah, that's how I was.
Of course,
that's just kind of what I was dealt. But the fact that I was making poor decisions, drinking a lot, I never ate salads or anything like that. So I never exercised. So I was like, oh, I want to do that. I started like running, which by the way, I don't do any exercise anymore unless like sometimes I skateboard or something like that.
Well, your skateboard's electric. You don't even.
But I also have a regular one.
Oh, okay.
So I do regular skateboard.
Oh, okay.
And I also just living in New York City, you run around the city a lot.
Yeah, do you switch legs when you skateboard, or is it just one leg's getting ripped?
Very interesting thought. I think about that a lot because one leg, my left leg, I push off with. So that's definitely working it. But your right leg, especially if you're going a long distance, you have to kind of do isometrics because you balance.
It's stabilizer.
Yeah, so you're kind of holding with one leg and then pushing with the other. So I think you're working different things, but they're both getting some tone. Yeah, I don't know.
So you grew up and you were overweight.
My dad and I were like snackers. We'd always eat a lot, and we both were like our biggest in the 90s.
You were going to Costco.
Is that what you're talking to your dad about every day? You're like, man, remember those snacks?
Yeah.
Remember when we used to be snackers?
Remember Dunkaroos, Dad?
Oh, dude. Oh, Dunkaroos are so good. Have you ever had, in college, me and my friends would get adult Dunkaroos.
Whoa.
Which was just, we would take cookies and put it in ice cream frosting.
Oh, that's so genius.
Adult Dunkaroos.
Oh
That's
my
what we
God.
called it. We would just get cookies and ice cream and the frosting from ice creams and we dunk it.
This is good.
That's such a good idea.
We need to go down this road of like what what could you eat when you were like a kid? Like I feel like you could eat anything.
I ate everything. We have a cabinet that was just packed with like snacks for lunches.
Yeah.
And like my mom would always give us like one a day. But when I got home, there's no limit. And I would sit in the kitchen, not do my homework, watch television on like really low volume where I was supposed to be doing my homework. There was like a little TV that had like 5 channels, but you'd get like Darkwing Duck or something. And I would watch that and like sneak a bunch of snacks all day long. And my dad would be like, look at the garbage and see stuff and be like, come on, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But he'd also be like, eating that.
Tip.
Or like, and if my mom was working late, like when his idea was a meal was like those like chicken buns, he'd call them, which were like burgers, but it was chicken and it was breaded. And you'd put it on like a bun with like mayonnaise.
Oh, yeah, like a chicken sandwich.
Yes.
Yeah,
like a microwavable, yeah.
Yeah, fried chicken sandwich.
A chicken sandwich. But what would your dad call them?
A chicken bun.
Chicken bun.
I couldn't
Because it was
remember,
chicken and bun.
I couldn't remember if it was called a chicka bun or a chicken bun.
A chicka bun.
Chicka bun. I think he used to say chicka bun.
That's fun.
We'd
That's
also-
probably what it was called.
Yeah.
That's probably the name of the stupid thing.
Yeah, definitely. We'd also go out to things too. Like if we had to like go out to like a basketball game or something. If my brother had a basketball game, I had to go. And he developed this thing. He'd say, all right, we have to wolf and go, which meant we have to eat very fast and then leave because we don't have enough time.
Wolf and go.
Which is not the healthiest way.
No.
Is your dad still a snacker, or has he moved past
No,
that?
he's
as well?
definitely. He also like we look at photos together and we're like, look at us, wow. And he definitely has also gotten a lot more healthy. Like our whole family. There was a period where like the Josts were like a bigger family, and I think we all started like eating healthier. My mom was like cooking better, and my dad also was,
Well, the 90s weren't years of healthy food.
Right.
No.
It was just all shit that came out.
But the other thing that sucks is like we tried, and the trying was almost worse. Like when we had like Crystal Light and diet soda.
Yeah.
And that
Right.
shit's worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they would like reduce the fat and things, but just add tons of sugar.
Yeah.
Sebastian, did you also have like a snack? Were there a lot of snacks?
No. So it's interesting that you talk about this because I'm overweight. Do you want to respond to that, Casey?
I wasn't. That's also. By the way, time out. That's not why I asked you if you had a snack drawer. No, Sebastian, did you have a snack drawer? No, I was asking because I was always jealous of households like Casey's where they had a snack drawer.
No, yeah, I didn't have one because things in my family were. It was a little more like mentally fucked than that. Like we wouldn't have snacks in the house because. I was overweight and stuff like that, so it would be like this forbidden fruit kind of situation. So it would be like, and I would, if they did have stuff, we would eat it so fast, and then we'd be like, we're never getting this again, and shit like that.
Right.
So when you talk about like sneaking snacks, you're talking my childhood, like you're talking like a large part of my life was like sneaking snacks and then putting a paper towel on top of the bags of chips, so then you couldn't see the chips underneath.
The taste was so good. Like that's the thing that's so messed up. It wasn't like you're a kid. You're not like nowadays sometimes people are like, I eat because I'm sad or something like that. When you're a kid, that's not the reason. You eat because it's like it's addictive and it's like delicious.
Yeah.
And you just like you want it, you crave it. And then I just like I loved it all. I was a member of a swim club, and there's all these kids and friends and stuff. And there was a kid who was like, Casey, if you do a really good belly flop, I'll buy you fries. And I was like, deal.
Yeah.
And I did a belly flop. He was like, yeah, you got to do it a little bit better. I did a bunch. I did like 8 or 9 belly flops. And then he like looked at me and I was crying. And he came over like, oh, Casey, man, like, it's okay. You don't have to do it. And I just said to him, I just want the fries. But that still is not my lowest point.
Well, you know what's crazy is what you said about the 90s. Like, it's all garbage food that we're eating. And it's crazy because also food manufacturers have made it addictive. Like, it's like
they put the science in it to make it like you want more and more.
Yeah,
sugar is addictive. I've like gone periods where I wasn't eating sugar, and the first few days of not eating sugar, you feel sick.
100%,
definitely.
Or you
have
carbs, headaches.
Yep.
You literally feel like flu-like. It's
totally.
It's disgusting how addicted your body is to this shit.
I have friends that have had more trouble cutting out like sugar and soda than alcohol.
Well, because the thing about that shit is it's about moderation rather than complete getting rid of.
Also, a lot of people like society's like, oh, you shouldn't drink in the day and in the morning or in the day, and you should only drink like a couple times a week. So you're like, for the most part, more people don't drink all day long, or like they just do the weekends, so that like addiction sort of. Society
is more regulated.
Yeah. Whereas like no one's ever like, don't have soda in the morning. Don't have. No. So like I have friends that have soda all day long.
I used to get Snap. My mom used to buy me a diet Snapple in the morning before high school.
Wow.
Like that was juice.
Can I tell you what I had at Farrell in my high school?
Of course.
You know the school.
Yeah, my grandma used to live right next door.
I used to get a Big Burst, which was like a brand that was just like, it was like, a quarter water,
Yes. Oh my God, I remember these.
But it was a big one. It was like 20 ounces of just liquefied sugar.
Yeah.
And I'd eat a bacon on a bagel. That was like a
no
thing
egg?
they'd sell there. No egg.
No
bacon, butter on the bagel.
What would you guys like if
oh
that?
My
if I
God.
did that,
what deli did you go to?
That was at Farrell.
Oh, they sold it there?
Our high school sold both of those things.
Dude, fucking Staten Island.
Oh my God, that's a Catholic school for you.
I guess so.
Dude, yeah. Oh my God.
That was crazy.
That's insane.
I used to have those like every day.
I wonder what would happen. Like, I think about what would happen to me if I ate a bagel and bacon in the morning and a sugary drink now.
Oh.
I would have to take a nap, I think.
Yeah.
Personally, I would have trouble eating a healthy meal after that.
Yes. No, that would happen to me too. Like, if I eat a bagel in the morning, I will eat like another bagel, a pizza. Like, it's crazy.
I know the day's fucked.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why I did that, and that's why I went really strict right out the gate. And luckily, my college had a lot of healthy choices. They had like a salad bar, then you could change it up. You know what I mean? I was around the time of Atkins. And it really helped me. And I still sort of do that now.
You still eat like low carb?
Yeah. I kind of have like a modified, keto is a big thing now.
Yeah. You do keto?
Kind of. I do a modified one because you're not supposed to eat fruit on keto, and I'm like, fuck that. Fruit rules.
Yeah.
Fruit's great.
Fruit roll-ups I'm talking about.
Yeah. You're not
snacks.
supposed to fucking eat fruit roll-ups on keto, which is bullshit.
It was crazy.
So yeah, that is the time that
keto Kalen.
Dude, fucking let me talk to you about keto, because I've been doing it for 5 years.
Like a pro.
And I call it keto. And one of the most important things is you got to stay away from those fruit roll-ups.
Okay.
You got to pronounce it keto, and it's spelled with a C.
Wow, CATO?
Yeah.
Kato.
So, what would be
Eat
like
cats.
a day of a normal day of you eating
My normal day is
in that like time period in that college, like
in
19,
college.
Yeah, 19
before switching, or
before switching.
Okay.
Before switching, like wake up. What'd you do?
I probably the dining hall. I probably had like cereal. And like probably multiple bowls. That was a big thing. Like at my house, I would fill up a thing of cereal and milk. I would finish it. There'd be milk left. Whatever sugary milk was left, I would fill up with more cereal.
Definitely. Yeah.
Eat that, and if there was more milk, do it again.
Definitely.
Even sometimes maybe be like, nah, I put too much cereal. I better put more milk in.
Yeah.
I had a friend who they would eat cereal with half and half.
Oh my God. That is
Heavy cream.
so
Just
funny.
Drop it on.
That sounds like someone who's like a bodybuilder that like, oh man, I need calories.
Right.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Wow. What was your cereal?
My cereal, I mean, there's two kinds of sides to this. When we were kids, it was like sugary cereals.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I think my parents were like, we need to do something, healthy. We'll get Raisin Bran Crunch, which is still sugary.
Yes.
All of the healthy cereals are still packed with sugar.
I know. It's just not marketed
the thing. You
towards
can't
kids.
win.
No.
You can't. Like, my parents tried with like Crystal Light and shit, but I think like that stuff traps the fat.
No, yeah. It also makes you crave sugar more.
It's crazy.
So you would have a bowl of cereal in the morning, and then you go to class.
Yeah.
And then what would you have for lunch?
For lunch, then I'd come back for lunch would probably be like a burger and fries if they had that. Maybe like breaded chicken fingers. I like those. Maybe like probably a sandwich, which now like I never have a sandwich. Like
Sure.
I never have like bread in the middle of the day. I never really truthfully I never have bread anymore. But I think a wrap I used to have like a couple years
And
ago.
that you would think that was a healthy thing, a wrap.
A wrap, yeah.
But it depends on what type of wrap you're getting.
Totally,
Some are like as bad as bread.
Right. So yeah, but back then, I'd probably have maybe pizza. They would always have like some sort of pizza around. I'd probably make an amalgamation of like foods, but there was probably like a lot more.
It was a buffet or it was a one item?
It was a buffet. You could get whatever you want. You
Yeah.
fill up your tray as many times as you want. You can
Sure.
keep going up,
Did
which
you feel
wasn't
like it was
helpful.
affecting? Like, did you feel it affecting
Yes.
you?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely. That's what I'm saying. Like when I was expanding my horizons, it was aside from like meeting new people, and I wanted to better myself, and I wanted to feel more confident. I wanted to feel like I looked better. I wanted to like just lose weight. Like I had a lot of friends. Like my roommate was this dude Danny, who was like so skinny, and like he did well with like the ladies, and like funny guy. He just looked good, like clothes just fit him better. Ugh. Like, you know what I mean? Like he could literally wear anything.
Fucking asshole.
He could wear anything, and it would be like, and it's like, oh, like that. How do you pull that off? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I felt like I wanted that sort of. And he was like a role model in that way. But he didn't eat healthy. He just had like the genetic structure.
Yeah.
He used to eat candy all day. You know what I mean? He was like, not like he was a good influence like on that stuff. We'd go to the diner late. He'd eat, but his portions were usually smaller than mine.
Yeah.
I could eat forever. And I could still. I could endlessly eat. You ask my friends.
Yeah, me
even
too.
now, like eating healthy.
You're eating a ton of chicken.
Yeah, I'm eating a ton of vegetables. I'm eating a ton of fruit. I'm eating a ton of meat. And because I'm like, I still want to eat a lot, but I want to eat what I think is healthy, or like that doesn't show up in my face and stuff as much.
Would you eat a fourth meal in college? Would you be?
Yeah, we go
eating
to the
that fourth
diner.
meal, right?
Depends on if we were drinking or something. Yeah. But
and
yeah,
then
definitely.
you would be drinking so many calories.
Late night snacks too, like late night, like you eat something. I don't do that at all anymore.
Yeah.
Like I ideally I try to like not eat at past like 8.
Wow,
I'm crazy now. I'm
That's-
a complete, and I feel like in some ways I might look back at this period and be like, I think I went too far with it, but I feel better about it, and I like having a little structure. Structure really helps me.
Same. We've talked about this before because I eat late at night, and you told me to get pickles for
Yeah.
a little late night snack.
that's what you do.
I have, yeah. I mean, they're like really low calorie.
Yeah, it's
and-
like 5 calories. for a
Especially
pickle.
like I like a spicy pickle, because like if you eat like a spicy pickle, there's not much more you want to eat after that.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it kind of like gives you the spice, and you're like, ooh, nothing else really tastes good. Even like water, you're like, it just tastes like spicy water.
Yeah, it's like savory.
Yeah.
You know what's fucked up is that late at night the food to eat is sweets.
Yeah, or bread.
Or like a sandwich.
Yeah, there's no fast, healthy food really.
No,
especially at night.
Sometimes when I get home late after like a show or something, or I had something late in the city, I'm like, I want to eat, but it's like 10:30, something like that, and I'm like, I like have to train myself to like, all right, cook a piece of chicken. It's
Yeah.
better for me to like, or like cook.
Right.
Than to like eat some microwave shit.
Yeah.
Actually, and it feels like you're eating more, but in a sense, you're actually eating healthier.
Right. If I come home and I like miss dinner or something like that, and I'm like, it's like late, but I'm like really hungry, I'll usually make like 2 eggs, or I'll if I'm lucky and I have like some like hummus around and like some like carrots.
you're
That's not
lucky.
bad.
If I'm lucky, I have some hummus and carrots.
That's
Dude,
when I talk about luck.
You could be proactive with that shit, man. You could just go buy hummus at the store.
I love Frank Sinatra being like, "Luck be some hummus tonight." Luck if you ever had a carrot to dip in hummus.
I am so impulsive at night. If I'm up past X amount of time or whatever, X
Yeah.
amount of time, I'm eating garbage. It's so hard for me to not eat bad. Last
Why
night
do
I
you
did a
think you
good
do
job.
that? Do you feel like you're like just so hungry, you're like ravenous, you'd rather not go to bed?
I think I get to the point where I'm so hungry by that time. Like if I'm coming home late, or I'm just up past the time that I'm supposed to be, so my body's like, I'm like bad. Like I want to be bad. Does that make sense?
The nighttime
Yeah.
is the time I want to be bad too.
Yeah.
I want to be, when it's night, I want to be a bad boy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like I literally, there's something inside of me that like it's dark outside, it's quiet. I want to eat. I want to do drugs. I want to get fucked up, and I want to sleep till it's dark again.
Yep.
That's
Wow.
like what lives inside of me, and that's so sad to say.
No. It's
But,
just
like,
absolutely.
it's a perspective.
That's something I like. I think I'm getting better at, but that's something I've had to fight for. The nighttime is where I feel like
Yeah.
a great side of me comes out, and like the side of me that I'm learning to bring to the day, like the fun, energetic side.
yeah.
But like that's where it lived first.
I definitely agree. I think it's easier for me to stay awake at night than it is to like be proactive at day.
Yeah.
You know, like if I have a day off, which I've had a bunch because I'm like in between some jobs, it's so much easier for me to find something to do at night or just be out or be awake or work on stuff. Whereas it's harder for me to like get up and do a lot of stuff or get out of the house.
Yeah.
And I had a friend recently who was telling me about he's been struggling with some like work stuff and depression, and he set a plan to like. He's like, I'm just going to go to a movie at 1:30 just to like set a time and like go out. And then it was 1. He was like, I'm not ready. I haven't showered or anything. I'll just go to the 3:30. And then it was like 3:15 and he was like, fuck, I did it again.
Yeah.
And then you're like, that's your whole day.
You got to get out.
You gotta.
You got to get out.
Well,
gotta.
that's mainly why Pat and I are doing this, so we could get out.
No, I think
it's like half a joke.
Honestly, it's
no,
like
I do this stuff too.
Yeah.
I have a podcast with my buddy Joe Ambrosio, and we do the same thing. I barely promote it. It's really like it's therapy for me.
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
It got me out. It got me up this morning. It got me showered. It got me eating a healthy breakfast. It got me into the city, and then I got my backpack. So then I'll just go sit somewhere and write after this.
Because we don't have traditional structures as like
we have to make
comedians.
our own.
Like yeah. And like I'm my work is on and off. I have different things that pop up all the time. My schedule's like crazy.
Sure.
So you have to kind of force some structure into your own life.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of celebration and a lot of like disappointment in this, and that is both triggering for like food stuff.
Yes.
That like both of them you could serve as like, oh, I'm gonna go out for a big meal because I'm happy, or didn't get this thing, so I'm gonna eat this fucking fat sandwich. It doesn't matter.
Those highs and lows, it
Yeah.
just makes you want to numb out. Whatever your thing is,
Yeah.
you want to kind of go to that. Whatever makes you comfortable.
I've been drinking a lot lately, and it, like in a way that I've been noticing, and I go through this a lot where like I go through periods where I feel like I'm drinking too much, and I'm glad that I'm conscious of it because I have some alcoholism in my family.
Yeah.
Like my grandfather's brother like died when he was like 50, basically from like he like drank himself to death. And he and so like I'm aware of it, so I'll try to curb my behavior. I take months off here and there. I could see a time in my life where I just stop altogether, but I do enjoy it. Like I like going out, or I don't know.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Do you drink? If you drink 2 beers, can you stop?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so you're good.
Oh shit. Okay. Like last night I had 2 and I was like, that's good. But
You
I
drink
wanted.
beers though.
No, I don't.
Do you drink
You
what?
meant? I think you meant just by drinking.
Two
Of course.
drinks,
No,
yeah.
but that because you have
No.
to stay on your low carbs.
Yeah, I
So
don't
what are you
drink
drinking?
beer.
Vodka sodas.
I'm drinking. Yeah, I'm drinking vodka or I'm drinking mostly. I think like now I'm kind of onto tequila and like I go back and forth between tequila and gin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
clear liquors.
But I do like a whiskey. Like I like a Manhattan or something like
Yeah.
that. But see, that's the thing. Like if I'm out to dinner, I'm like thinking about what drink I want. I'm not like really drinking much in the day, but I am drinking, I think, at this point, almost every single night. Because
Yeah.
that's the other thing about this. You guys are great at you've gotten to the point where you go to the show when you're not having a drink.
Yes.
But I'm still doing that. Which is like I don't know. I mean, I agree. Like I guess I could have 2 and stop, or I could have 1 and stop. And I occasionally I'll have more, but
I get what you're saying. It's like you don't want to go down that. It's like a slippery slope.
And then I take months off sometimes. Sometimes like in the beginning of the year, like I've done this a lot where I've taken like January off or past. I'll be like, let's see how far I can go.
Yeah.
And then it's fun to like do that, or I'll just take a few weeks off.
Yeah, I only asked because it's like for me, like I'm an alcoholic, sober, and it's just like 1, 2 beers and I'm gone. It was like we were talking about with like a bagel. If
Yeah.
like I eat a bagel, it's the same thing. Like I'm like eating a pizza later in the day. It's like I can't have 2. I can't have 1.
I luckily don't think I have that where I have a slippery slope with anything, but not like immediately.
Right.
Like, so like, it's like not like if I have a little, but it will be like if I have a little bit of like dessert on like, Wednesday night, I'm like, maybe like there's like something there. Then like I might have it again on like Thursday or Friday. And like maybe like, then I'm like, you know what, I have dessert now.
It's easier to add.
But then it's like, then I like, what should we order for dessert now? And like, what should we, like, dessert's just a part of it now. And then maybe something else is like, or like maybe dessert after lunch is like, I try to now keep pretty strict with things like that, especially with food. That's the other thing. It's like I cut out sandwiches altogether, or like like pizza or bread, like all together because
pizza.
I know pizza's
it's tough.
I'm
pizza's
sorry.
hard.
I'll tell you the things that are the toughest.
Yeah.
Tacos.
Taco. Oh,
So not even a corn tortilla every now and then. You're not eating that.
Why don't you do a romaine?
Sure. I'll do
You
that.
do romaine
I'll
and
do
you
a
throw
romaine.
a taco meat in that shit, but it's not the same.
I think it is. I like it.
No, dude,
I've even been at parties like where there's a catering going around and they'll give out a taco and I'll just eat the inside and I
Sure.
won't eat the. It's weird to say inside, right? Because it's not really inside. I'll eat
the loose part.
I'll eat the ingredients. No,
Because the shells is part of the ingredients.
I know.
Yeah.
I'll eat the
loose parts. I
contents.
think loose parts.
I
is
call
good.
it loose meat usually. I literally go, Lindsay, I'm gonna cook some loose meat tonight. I say
Do
that
you
all the
really?
time.
You said loose meat.
Yeah, I say
I
that
like
all the
that.
time.
Yeah, but I'll do that. I've been eating a lot more like beef jerky, but I also eat like a good amount of fish. The other thing that's hard is rice.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like there's a lot of like culinary institutions that make things with rice, so I avoid that as well.
What do you fuck with cauliflower rice?
I think I would, yeah.
You should get that.
I think I've had it, yeah. We've had like cauliflower pizza and stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't taste the same, but it like looks the same.
Yeah.
Can I ask, like you mentioned a bottom, you were going to talk about this party. Were there times before that, leading up to that, where you were like, oh, this isn't me. Like, this isn't me. I don't want to be like this.
I think I had always struggled with it. Like another thing is like at a young age, my dad, I think, felt like he wasn't happy with his weight. And he used to have conversations with me like, hey, we both need to lose some weight. So I not that he gave me a complex, but maybe he did, but like he gave me the idea that I need to get healthier because I was like, it got in the way. It got like, I used to be on a basketball team and I was self-conscious about my weight, like running down the court. Like I could even run, but like I was self-conscious about it.
Yeah.
And like I was in a summer camp and I had to take my shirt off for shirts and skins and I got made fun of.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It was
course.
like the 90s were brutal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so like it was always in my head, and I think like I was always self-conscious about that. I still am. I still see myself in that way. I think I definitely have like a dysmorphia light or something.
I always say there's something like when you grow up overweight, you feel it different than like people who like became overweight as an adult, because those are the guys that are taking their shirts off, and like look at my big belly and slapping it.
I know
those aren't people that grew up with the shame that comes around like being a kid and
You're
being
absolutely
overweight.
right. People tell me that all the time. People are like, "You used to be big. Oh man, we flipped. I was so skinny, and now I'm big."
And they couldn't give a shit about it because that's
Right.
that's how you grew up. So you'll always probably feel that.
Definitely. Anytime I take my shirt off, I'm like, I never like, I really like rarely post a photo. If I like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
It's like I'm not confident.
I get that
in that way.
The time when I was a little kid, me and my sister, she's so nice. When we would go to pool parties, we came up with this plan that she would push me in the pool with my shirt on, and then I would take my shirt off in the pool. So then, like it would seem like I fell in the pool, like it was like an accident.
Yeah.
That's so
I've
sweet. Been there.
Yeah.
I've done that too.
Yeah.
I've tried. I used to do this thing where to be funny, I would jump in with all my clothes, no bathing suit, and just so that I could stay in that.
It was a disguise. It was so
Absolutely,
and it was all like
you just took me back.
So planned out. The anxiety around that shit was so crazy.
Luckily, I went to the swim club. Right, I went to a swimming pool, and like those friends.
Yeah,
they knew we had swim practice. There's no hiding it.
Sure,
but they never judged me, and they were always so good. They're still friends to this day.
That's so
and
beautiful.
But my like school friends and at parties and stuff, I wasn't at that comfortable level.
Yeah,
and I'm not friends with them. No, maybe,
I feel,
maybe that's a thing. Not really.
Yeah, those are your ex-boys.
For those of you listening, I feel like some of this is kind of aimed at me because I'm shirtless, and before we started, I was slapping my belly like crazy
with the hat on though.
Hat on, shirtless, booty shorts.
That's a really interesting point that I never really thought about. But yeah.
And with your dad, that's such a hard balance as an adult, because I think about my parents, and like to have a kid that's overweight, you don't know, like you want to say something because you want them to be healthy, but also to be happy and feel comfortable with their body. And you know that like if they lost weight, they would feel better, but you don't want to give them a complex. It's such a delicate. I don't know how I would deal with it as a parent.
It's really hard.
I mean, I think you just nowadays you figure out, you make restrictions in a way that, parents always make restrictions, like hopefully that they're not just like, yeah, whatever you want, eat pizza and garbage every single night. Like you have to, you know what I mean? Like you have to be like, eat your broccoli, but like you have to be a little bit more, you can't have it in the house. Like we had all that shit in the house.
Yeah. Well,
no, I know. I mean, my parents tried. They didn't have it in the house, but then I would leave the house and because it wasn't in the house.
Yeah.
So it was like a fucking animal.
I was going to comment on this. So like Emily, my wife, she was the same way. Like it was like not in the house. It was something that was like, it was forbidden. Right. And like, so when I met her, no joke. I'm sorry, Emily, I love you. She ate dessert. All she ate was dessert.
Yeah.
She ate dessert
because it was like the thing that you couldn't have. It became taboo or something that you like fucking needed it.
Yeah, and she told me about a story one time where she climbed up, she got a ladder and climbed up and got the sugar and was just like spoonfuls of sugar, just fucking housing sugar.
Wow.
Yeah, but I love her, and she's great. She still eats a lot. She still. One time I caught her drinking sugar, but you know what? No, she doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, Emily is actually the guy from the beginning of Men in Black. Sugar water.
I made that once for my cousins. They were like over and I had to like babysit them and they were like, we want to drink soda and we didn't have any. And I was like, I got you. And I just put sugar in water. And then my parents were like, what are they drinking? And I was like, sugar water. I made it. I'm really proud of myself. Like I cooked it.
Wait, so let's get to this bottom. What was the bottom?
That I think around that time of that party and like just, actually it was those photos. That's the interesting thing about a photo was like, I think I was like around my biggest at that point, and my sloppiest.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You look a little bigger, but you also don't. You're a put together man now. Your hair's always looks nice. You always got a nice outfit on. Like you're like a handsome guy that has style. And in those pictures, you look like a slobby guy a little bit.
I was, and I think I started thinking about everything at that point. I was thinking more, and here's the thing: I was probably like smoking some weed too, which I remember stopping.
Fuck yeah, high five!
Hell yeah! I remember stopping at this point too, because I was like kind of getting sad about myself and about things. I didn't know what my major was going to be. I didn't know what I was going to do, and sophomore year got really heavy in that way, both physically and emotionally.
Nice. You've been holding that one for a while. You've been waiting for that.
The whole
let that one rip.
Was for that one joke.
Yeah. But so I think at that point I had smoked a lot of weed in high school and it was fun, but then things get real in college. Yeah. And then so I think all those things combined, I just started to fix things, or in my try to like exercise and see how I felt. And I felt great. Like after running and like I felt like I noticed things right away. You just see like your face firm up a little bit. Yeah. And I was eating a lot less too. So I was like not only eating healthier, I was like eating like just better portions and eating like less food and seeing like not eating late. And it's hard. It's like quitting sugar. Yeah. You get headaches and stuff. And I remember like the first week or so being really hard. And then after that I was like, oh, I got this now. I know what I could eat. I know what I could do. I'm still going to stay up these things. And I noticed it right away. And I felt like I was also at a young enough age that you do lose weight pretty quickly. Yeah. Because if you're running and doing things, your metabolism is pretty fast at that age.
Of course.
And I'm glad that I developed, the most important thing is I developed those habits. It wasn't just like a crash diet. What I'm looking back on now is like cutting out things or like not eating late anymore. Or if I do go to the diner, I'll get like an omelet and like not eat the potatoes or something. You know what I mean? Like I started making choices.
Right.
Up until then, I was never making choices. I was eating whatever was there.
It was an impulse thing. Like it was just impulsive, and it wasn't like we weren't thinking about it. I feel like I never. It took me so long to like think about sleeping, to think about what I'm eating and how it's like affecting me. It's like I didn't give that a thought at all.
Well, sleeping doesn't affect you until you're like 25 and up. Like I don't remember trying to fall asleep and not being able to.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember that. I remember staying up late, sure, but like now sometimes like I go to bed and I'm like I can't fall asleep, or like if I do, it's just like because I don't know, like it's just because I stayed up for too long and I had to fall asleep or something. But I don't know. I don't know.
So when you started to do this, were you open with your friends that you're like, I'm gonna start eating healthy and I'm gonna?
Some of them for sure, and a lot of people like noticed right away. Like I'd pass people jogging that I knew, and they'd be like, "Whoa, all right, you do this now?"
Yeah.
And I would like on campus.
Were
And
they jogging, or were they were just sitting on a bench?
they were flying.
Okay, cool.
Oh, did I not tell you that I went to school in the future? No, yeah, they were jogging. Like people who were exercising would see me at the gym,
yeah,
and be like, "Oh, very cool." And like I felt like they all knew each other. Gyms, I still feel weird with gyms. I still don't really, like I said, like I never liked exercise. I have a strange relationship. Lisa loves to exercise. She'd rather eat something poorly and then work it off. I know a lot of people who are like that,
and I can't do that.
I can't do that either
because my relationship with food is so bad that it has nothing to do with exercise. It has to do with my relationship with eating. Diet
was way easier for me than exercise.
Yeah,
and it's more effective than exercise.
Yeah, 80-20 they say.
Yeah. So I think exercise is good for you. Like I'm going to a wedding soon in like Yosemite, and there's going to be like a hike. And I've been trying to walk more so that I'm ready for it.
Yes, you don't want to feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
It is there's so much shame around what you're physically able to do.
I know. It's crazy. I mean, I had a hernia surgery like a couple years ago, and I really had trouble with stairs after it. And I realized how fucking hard this city is for people with disabilities.
Yeah. Ugh. Can you come back and do the show again, and we can do the hernia?
Yes, absolutely. I'll show you pictures of my groin.
Oh my God. So so at this time when you were like there's so much, 'cause I only asked about your friends because there's for me, like, even when you know that you're a slobby mess, there's so much shame around saying like, I want to fix this.
Yeah.
Like it's almost harder to say I want to change myself from the person I don't like now into something better than just to remain this person that's sloppy. At least for me.
I mean, you feel that way? I definitely like didn't want to advertise like, hey, everybody, let's do a campaign for me to lose weight, or like,
sure.
Or like I wasn't like, everybody, I'm healthy now, because you also don't want to like set it up, and if it doesn't work out,
that's
or something.
the thing. That's the fear.
That is a huge problem to try to stop anything. You know, because you tried. You start trying early, or you start being aware of it,
right?
And then you don't want to set yourself up for failure, because ultimately, then when that shame kicks in, you're going hard.
I have two friends, and I had two friends in college that they were supportive in every way. I was always a terrible student, but like in college, I started doing well. And if I wrote a paper, my friend Sam, she would like read the paper over and like help me with like grammatical stuff, and I like would actually learn a lot from that. She would like do it with me, and like I feel like I learned more from her than I did like with teachers.
That's amazing.
And my friend Lee also, they were roommates, and she was like also like I'll exercise too, and like we'd both go to the gym, and we were both new at that. I mean, she was definitely like, she wasn't in the same place I was, but she just wanted to get out more and like exercise a little bit more, and so that was really helpful. And I think I don't know, I think I just. After a while, people just knew that's, even now, it's a little hard because I go out to dinner with people, and like people are like, want to share this bready thing. And I'm just kind of like, I actually don't eat that. I'm a little bit more confident now in being like, yeah, I don't eat that, but go for it. You know what I mean? Like I sometimes like, I don't mind pitching in or something if don't feel bad about that. So there's certain sacrifices I have to make, like if that's the case. But at the same time, like, I'm like, oh, I'm actually not going to get that. I'm going to get my own side dish of some weird vegetable.
Yeah. Or
like, I'm going to get this steak that's probably more than your entrees. You know what I mean? Because I'm eating more of like a meat, like food now, I don't mind paying money for, because I know that it's if it's healthy, then it's
for your well-being and mental health. And
I'm not going crazy. I'm not getting the Wagyu.
The Wagyu?
I'm not getting the Wagyu beef. I'm not getting. Is that
what is Wagyu beef? Kobe beef.
Kobe's big. Isn't Wagyu one too, or is that a company that makes bags?
All I could think was Swagyu.
Wagyu. I think Wagyu beef is a thing. I don't know.
I
I'm not
believe
that good
it.
at food.
It sounds fancy.
Kobe beef is they massage the cows, they feed them rice and beer.
Right, which is crazy. I don't eat that.
Wagyu,
they eat better than me.
Wagyu, they just give them pasta sauce.
That's a pretty good life.
Yeah.
Pasta's tough. That's another one.
Yeah, pasta. Yeah, what do you do for family events? Because like family events must be hard, right?
Well,
because you can't order food.
We're not Italian, so we don't really do a lot of pasta. Not at all. So my family.
We're not going to air this episode.
Why did I assumed you were Italian. I assumed you were Italian too for some reason. Yeah.
Casey Jost.
I didn't even think about you. It's good.
Well, I think it's because you're from Staten Island. I think that's why I assume you're Italian.
I mean, we like my mom would make pasta.
Catholic high school.
Yeah, but is that
Irish?
Italian?
You're Irish. Italian.
Yeah, I'm Irish.
Irish.
Yeah. And like I don't know. Like Italian food was still a big part of my culture,
of course.
But no, I'm definitely not Italian at all. Is it because I do the Staten Island News character on my Instagram?
Yeah, that might be it.
And I'm co-opting Italian culture.
Yeah, please don't do that.
No, but it is an odd thing because I think it all came from people liked broad humor for such a long time.
Yes,
yeah,
it's how we all related. So if you look at the '80s, like a lesbian comedian is like, I'm a lesbian. If Italian comedian is like, I'm Italian.
Yeah.
A black comedian is like, I'm black. Everyone's like, I'm that. But now I think it's great because I think everybody's like, we're over that.
Yeah.
I want the subtlety. I want your personality. I want what makes you different.
Yeah.
And of course,
as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might be informed by your culture.
Of course. It has to be because that's a part of who you are a lot of the time, like where you grew up and stuff like that.
Right.
And who you are.
But it's not necessarily attributed to your culture. Like it's more like I'm going to get into my neuroses a little bit. And that's what makes me an individual.
Or you play on it. You're like, you know what I mean? Like you might be like, I'm Irish, but I have to play again. You know what I mean? But I'm doing this. And it's just like, I know you think what that is. I could subvert it. I don't know.
Can I ask you what you think? This is a hard question, but what you think your life would look like had you not made that change?
I don't know. Like I'm still on the fence sometimes. I'm glad I'm healthier in some ways, but I wonder if it really made a difference. You know, sometimes I think that, like, I think it definitely made a difference health-wise, but mentally maybe I'd be more relaxed because I used to eat whatever I wanted to do, like, you know, like in some ways. And I don't think I was in a place where I was that bad. Like, I don't think I was like, you know, I was young, so I don't think I had like any like heart issues or things like that. I don't think diabetes is in my family, so I don't think I was gonna, you know, like this sort of real problematic stuff. I don't know. In some ways, I'm like, would I be? But I feel very happy. I am a happy person.
Do you ever cheat?
I don't know.
Do you ever cheat? Just one off? Because I feel like we went to a Giants game, and I feel like or maybe you just ate wings or something like that.
I ate wings.
Yeah, you ate wings.
I ate plenty of wings. I have little things like, all right, so if wings are like coated in a barbecue sauce, I'm sure there's sugar on that. I'll eat that. Because I think like...
But that's a choice. It's like what you said before. I'll make this choice, which is just better than eating whatever's around.
I have to eat something.
Yes.
Because if I don't eat wings, because like at a baseball stadium, I don't have a lot of other options.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think like I definitely make little choices, or like, I guess it could be maybe like a cheat, although it's more so just survival.
Yeah, it's just a meal. So
alcohol's my cheat. Alcohol, like, you know, like
right.
I'll have, if I have like a, you know, I won't have like a gin and tonic because tonic's like a sugary kind of substance. But here's the thing, I'm a little
tonic
crazy.
is loaded with suger.
I think it is.
It tastes so fucking bad for something that has so much sugar in it.
Yeah, it doesn't taste like it has any sugar in it.
It's a lot, yeah.
It tastes like the opposite of sugar.
No, it's more than soda, I think.
Seltzer doesn't have anything.
Seltzer,
I love
soda is
Great.
good.
So but if I'll drink like a Negroni, which is like gin, Campari, and sweet vermouth, I'm sure there's tons of sugar in there.
Yeah, sweet vermouth.
Yeah.
Can we just real quick just go over some of the stuff we miss? What we
For
miss
food?
the most? Like, I mean, like Lucky
Sure.
Charms,
Love this.
cereal. Just it's incredible.
Oh man. You know, yeah.
No, go ahead if you have stuff. I was gonna say.
My favorite food, like dessert food, is cookies. Cookies are, in my opinion, the perfect food.
Do you undercook them a little bit?
I don't care. I'll eat them anyway. For my birthday a couple of years ago, I was at this restaurant I used to work at, and the owner's like the best. He made me fresh cookies that were basically pancakes, but with cookie.
Wow.
And they were these big things, and so part of it was mushy, part of it was cooked, and then we put ice cream on top.
Oh.
Cookies and ice cream is the only thing that's better than cookies.
Oh
But ice cream is not better than cookies.
no, I feel you on
Yeah.
that. I used to get one of those the big cookie cakes for my birthday.
Oh, those are great.
Yeah.
Those are
good.
so
Cookie pie.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A cookie pie.
a cookie pie.
A cookie pie.
Oh, those are so good. You know what I miss? When I was a kid growing up, I would literally go to church on Sunday, then we'd go to my grandma's house, and we'd eat one meal, and it'd take the whole day to eat one meal. Because we'd start with
That's incredible.
antipasto, so we do like
I love that.
provolone, salamis, like all like mushrooms, like cold antipasto.
Tell you this, babe, I could eat all that.
Oh yeah, you could eat all that. All that's good.
Next.
But then we go on to we'd eat pasta course. So we'd have like long fusillis, which are like basically like a thick spaghetti that like it has like a twirl.
Kind of corkscrew.
Oh, dude, they're phenomenal. They're so fucking good.
I love those.
And then we eat that with brajioles, hot and sweet sausages, and meatballs. And
I
then
could eat all that.
yeah, well, no, the meatballs have sugar and
Little breadcrumbs.
breadcrumbs.
I'll still once in a while. That might be a little cheat.
Yeah, that's a little cheat.
I miss angel hair pasta.
No, I don't fuck with angel hair.
Okay.
I'm so sorry I shut you down so fast.
No, I'll leave.
No, dude. Literally,
I thought-
you said.
Yeah, no, that's terrible.
You just became my
can't
ex-boy.
miss that. You can't miss that.
Dude, honestly, I miss those. And then we would eat chicken parm, and then we'd eat peas and mushrooms, and we eat mashed potatoes and spinach, and then stuffed artichokes.
Is your grandma cooking all this?
My grandma cooked it every Sunday.
And how old was she at this time?
She must have been 80.
Wow.
And she'd start that day and do all
She'd
this?
do everything that day.
Wow. That's incredible.
That's
Unbelievable.
amazing.
And we would spend the whole day, and then we'd eat desserts, and then I'd go home and go to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're just sitting and eating all day, there's definitely no exercise there.
No.
Yeah.
If anything, we would lie down from sitting and eating so much. We would take breaks and just lie in the living room.
We had there's 9 of us. I have 8 siblings.
Right.
So food was like,
Just like you'd split a can.
yeah, you split a can. No, people would hide food. Like literally, my dad would come home from the grocery store on the weekends, and like my siblings would like grab a like bacon and hide
This
it
is so funny.
Bacon.
to like eat, because it was like you're not getting any of that bacon, or like a box of cereal. No joke, we would like eat it
Right.
as soon as we possibly could, and like most likely you're not getting a bowl of it. So you had to be like really, because there'd be like one good cereal, you know, and then everything else would be like
9 kids. That means that you all couldn't have a serving of cereal.
yeah,
Think about how much food you'd have to buy.
it was crazy.
The Costco.
That's why you've always been slender.
Yeah.
You weren't given food. You weren't, like, you'd have to fight for food.
I do think like right now my life is the only time I've been like financially secure enough, like I can go get whatever I want right now, and that's hard.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like it's hard to be able to just be like, oh, I could pop in here and eat like a like a hoagie or whatever, because like that's all I want to do.
Right.
But when you have a little money, you could actually buy better, like healthier food.
Yes. I feel like privileged in that way that like I get to buy I get to have this diet. It's almost a little privilegey, but at the same
it's
time,
expensive the way you eat.
I know, but at the same time, it's like in our country, at least, like the cheap food is so bad for you.
Totally.
And that's so hard.
It's not my fault.
It's not your fault,
No.
Casey.
It's not my
It's
privilege's
Nixon.
fault. In this case, I don't have to check my privilege.
They started subsidizing all this stuff. Nixon started subsidizing all this stuff.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was
Nixon
like,
watches.
Nixon watches. They're very responsible for great time telling, but a lot of sugar in the food.
And I heard there was something about like the corn industry.
Yeah,
I'm talking out my ass right now.
No, they
but-
subsidize corn.
Yeah.
They subsidize
You're
all of
talking
it
for real.
because they
and that's where all the corn syrup comes from. Because if you made corn on your farm, you would get like money from the government.
yes.
I mean, I don't have their back on this, but I'm also like, we have so many people that they needed to figure a way to feed
Sure.
everyone, and they're like, let's just make corn everything. We
Yeah.
eat more corn than like the Aztecs. That was like their diet was corn. I'm serious. Like there's studies that's like, wow, as a civilization, somehow we are getting more corn than like a culture that lived on only corn.
Yeah, I heard like the Aztecs, when they would do a buffet, it was just like one tray of corn, go
Creamed corn, then you get the regular corn, the sweet corn, corn on the cob,
popcorn right
then
at the
popped
end.
corn, and then a caramel popped at the end.
I love popcorn. Maybe I'll have that as a cheat once in a while.
Popcorn's
Popcorn's
amazing.
not that bad for carbs, right?
I think it's bad. I
Oh,
think
never mind.
it's not bad for calories.
Oh, okay.
What
That's a
about like
different thing.
what about like a not like a candy bar, but like a sweet thing that you could buy at like
Do you get Quest bars? Do you fuck with those?
No.
Do you know what they are?
Yeah, there's like chocolate things.
Yeah, but dude, but they have like they're low carb. They say.
But it's got a lot of sugar, right?
No, I think it's no, like low sugar.
My snack now is just beef jerky. I eat a lot of it.
Yeah,
I love it, and
great.
So like that's like on set. If I'm on set for something, hopefully they have beef jerky. Otherwise, I can't really.
Sets are impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah, that's why like I kind of developed a way of just like eating less or like intermittent fasting or something. You know what I mean? That's like just become part of life in a weird way.
Intermittent fasting. How do you do that? What do you do?
Well, one thing, there's different versions of it, but the one that's like popular is like you don't start eating until noon and you stop eating at like 7 or 8. So you eat your food in between those hours, and it makes a difference. I actually like it. I used to do it for a long time. Like I would come to work and I'd have coffee, but like I wouldn't have like any food until like noon. And then I would try to finish and like not have dinner past 8. And I felt good. I slept better for sure.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had more energy in the morning. Like when I was working before lunch, I would get more done. Whereas if I was having some kind of breakfast, even like a smoothie, which is like what I mostly have now if I have breakfast.
Yeah.
I felt like my mind was thinking more about food, or like, I don't know, it just messed with me a little bit.
Can I ask you how my smoothies are compared
They're
to
excellent.
yours?
They're incredible.
They're good?
His smoothies are healthier than mine, and mine are
Really?
like filled with kale and shit. But his have like ginger, all kinds of stuff. They're great.
gotta
They're
try
almost
one.
like too veggie in a way that's crazy for me to say because like I could eat raw kale.
Wow.
Casey Jost, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Eat
On
raw
that, I can eat raw kale. That's my credit. We found my credit.
Yes,
your
that's what
credit.
he is.
Casey.
You know Casey from eating raw kale.
Casey, give what are your plugs? What do you want to plug?
Oh man, I want to plug in a like a phone so that I could charge.
Fuck yeah!
No, I want to plug puns. I want to plug I guess the podcast that me and my friend Joe do is fun. It's called the JV Squad Cast. We used to kind of be like the JV Squad for another podcast. Like we'd fill in when they weren't doing it, and then that podcast stopped doing it. So we were like, well, we're just going to make our own.
Cool.
And
Is that Jokers?
It was one of those. Yeah. Me and James McCarthy do an official Impractical Jokers podcast. So if you watch that show, we pair up the episodes. But
It's cool.
But yeah, JV Squadcast. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. Sometimes that's at Casey Jost. I put some videos up there. I'm into the stories recently.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you guys can check our Instagram for Casey's before and after pics. It's at Who You Were Podcast. Email us your before and after pics, and we'll pick the best one each week at whoyouwerepodcast@gmail.com. I'm Patrick Noth. I am at Patrick Noth on Twitter. And I'm at Patrick Noth with a 0 on Instagram. Sebastian?
Yeah, don't follow me on social media. I got no presence.
Great.
But
He's
you
on
could,
Instagram. You're on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, but don't follow me.
I love it.
I don't give a fuck. What am I going to pretend?
I love it.
And rate and review the podcast 5 stars or whatever you
go.
think.
Subscribe.
All right? Yeah, subscribe.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
put your notifications on so you know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Turn
What'd
on
you
your
say?
notifications.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm really flattered that you asked me to be on your second or maybe 5th podcast.
Thank you so much for doing it, man.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Love you too, bro.
Thank you for listening to Who You Were. Please subscribe, rate, and review. Guest before and after pics on Instagram at Who You Were Podcast. Send your before and after pics to whoyouwerepodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at Who You Were Podcast. This podcast is produced independently. If you'd like to support it, please visit patreon.com/Patrick Noth. Thanks for listening.